know everybody's time is valuable, so we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to get things started by asking Bobby a few quick questions, then open it up to general questions from the media. Bobby, noticed on your car right before you went out to practice, special branding on it today. Tell us a little bit about the sponsorship.
Well, that's right, Ken. First of all, I want to say that I was watching some video this week because I was on NASCAR America, and I had to watch some to kind of get prepped for it, and I saw myself I've won a race here and finished the top 5. I used to come to the media center, so I hadn't done that in a while. So I want to kind of say, I can come back now, right? But I have to make my own way back so far. But anyway, it's glad to be back here. And like Ken said, I do have a feel-good story announcement on our car this weekend. Got the Bobby Labonte Foundation Tour de Reason, which is a charity cycling event that I have on August 27th of this year, and with the help of Archie and Micah with Rimrock, they allowed me that opportunity. And what it's about is the cycling event is about raising money for local charities, and it became an opportunity in the past few weeks, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, of the sponsorship that kind of changed a little bit for this race. So anyway, that's kind of the meat of it, and it's just it just seemed like the right time, and it might be the only time this year that we can kind of promote it in a way that might not be. It's kind of not. We won't be able to do this on a race car probably throughout the rest of the year. So it seemed like good timing, and Archie was allowed me to do that. And I talked to Micah on the phone, and he's going to actually. I talked him into riding with me on 63 miles on August 27th, so he's going to have a little work to do. I have a little bit of work to do. He's actually got a lot of work to do, from what I understand. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. It's just a good way to hopefully promote the cycling event, coming up in August.
Speaking of which, I remember last year's event like it was yesterday. Beautiful day, over 225 participants. How do folks get involved this year?
Well, if you go to the BobbyLabonteFoundation.org, you'll find out all the information, because I don't know if I know all of it, but obviously, the registration's open now. Last year we did have 225 riders, so we promoted it better than we had in the past. We were like at 75 at one point in time, and it's like, how do we get this thing better? So it's going to be in downtown Thomasville, North Carolina, which is really close to where I live. Last year, like Ken said, we had 225 riders, which is really, quite a big bump from the year before, and we're excited about that. And I've been cycling for 10 or 12 years. I enjoy it. I enjoy the being around the folks that ride bikes, and we have a great time. And I had a little bit more time on my hands, so I got more weekends to do that. So we go and ride events with somebody or some other people, and that kind of brought them on board. But so really, the foundation.org is there'll be all the information. Actually, this year we have on a Friday night we've got a reception that's going to be open to the first 75 people that register. I think it's like $65 a person, maybe $100 for couples. And to register for the bike event, it's $25 per person, $160 for a team of 8. And I can say right now that the weather's probably going to be beautiful again, so you can just go ahead and sign up if anybody wants to. And so we got a 63-mile ride and a 35-mile ride and a 10-mile fun ride. And I can tell you, like anything else, when I put on a helmet, anybody else puts on a helmet to ride a bike, it's a race. So at the end of the day, it's still kind of a race. So that's kind of most of the meat of that information. Like I said, we got a press release out, and the foundation will have a lot of the information.
Bobby, one last question. Taking a look at your fire suit, I believe you mentioned to me that you've got a special plan for it as it relates to an auction as well. Tell me about that.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened since Daytona. A good friend of ours, Josh Comstock, with C&J Energy, the president of the company, he passed away unexpectedly a couple weeks after the Daytona 500. And it's kind of interesting. It's been kind of, not many people have heard about it or maybe read about it, I suppose. I hadn't seen it on J-Ski anyway, so maybe that's the reason why I hadn't seen it. But Josh was a family friend of ours, especially with Terry. Grew up racing in Texas, and went from a great story like a lot of people have. Went from a $200 or $500 in his cash and in his pocket and a pickup truck and some tools, and started working in the field and became very successful in his business, and grew his business to a $5 billion a year company. So through Frankie and Archie and Terry, he was actually just helping out on a few races that Terry wanted to do. And so he was really instrumental in a lot of things for that, and just a good family friend. And unfortunately, when he passed away, the sponsorship changed, because it was basically with Josh, I mean, it was kind of, what he wanted to do is his passion. So his wife Yvette, which we got to know really, really well over the past few years. Obviously with passing of Josh, her life has changed quite a bit as well. So the sponsorship has changed on our car. So Rimrock's on board this weekend, and Micah and all the folks there have stepped up to the plate to help out, and for Archie and Frankie, because Josh was he was there, going to be there for the 4 restrictor plate races, and so. Kind of what happened was like, I got a C&J uniform. It's like, well, we're not going to have C&J on the car, but, Josh is a good friend of ours. So we called Yvette and we asked her, said, we'd like to auction off this uniform, which is now live on eBay. It'll be running for 10 days. And so this is the last uniform that C&J has in the NASCAR series. And so, wearing it probably Sunday, I guess, want to auction it off. And so kind of a twofold story right quick is my niece, Justin, my nephew's wife. She's 32 years old, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer when we got back from Daytona this year. So obviously everybody's in our family, either knows somebody, has known somebody indirectly or directly that's had some type of cancer, breast cancer especially. So, unfortunately that's too often it's known, and so now it's hit our family more directly. So the proceeds to this that goes through my foundation will go in Miranda's name. That we're going to have a walk for next Saturday night, actually, in Winston-Salem. So it's that chapter of the Susan G. Komen. So it'll be put in her name as we see this beautiful 32-year-old woman go through breast cancer and for her recovery. And when we called Yvette and asked her what charity she'd like to give it to, she didn't have anything else but just make sure it goes to Miranda. Again, it goes back to the family and to to what Josh and Yvette have meant to Labonte family and others as well, as they've always given. And so I think that was a great tribute that Yvette gave us the opportunity, and it kind of lined up with what we were going to do on some other things anyway. So anyway, it's kind of one of those, with Josh not being here, it's not going to be the same. Not going to be a Talladega Boulevard for us this weekend. So, Josh is all about people, and we really will miss him. And but we're excited that C&J folks in Houston let us wear the uniform and let us do it, and they wanted us to do it. And so we'll kind of move on from there.
I'll open it up to some general questions for Bobby. Jenna?
Right. Bobby, I know you do the 4 plate races this year. Is that something you want to do next year as well?
For next year, that's a great question. With the charter situation and how all that works, and then, obviously, Josh guaranteed I'd be in the Hall of Fame if he'd sponsor me for a couple more years, like he did Terry, because evidently it worked for Terry. But obviously, I don't know right now. It's kind of different with the charter system. It might not be quite the same going around. Archie, we haven't talked about it, so that's a possibility, but I'm not really sure about it. I do have a couple other things that I'm excited about. The possibility, chances are that might come to fruition later on the year that I kind of didn't see coming around the corner, but opportunities that might lead to something that I've been more excited about than anything I've done in my career. So, drinking this Coke right now, I guess. I don't know. That probably can't say that because it's not really done yet, and that wouldn't be like me. That. So anyway, I'm excited about that, an opportunity. I mean, and racing is what, still a big passion of mine. I mean, and I know I'm not going to go do a lot of things that I used to do, but there's still some opportunities out there that are still up on my radar that I'd like to do.
Go ahead.
Pat DeCole at NASCAR.com. You mentioned the racing is still a big passion of yours, so I'm just curious what racing goals you might still have left.
That's a great question too. Winning any race, might be the bicycle race. I don't know. I'd probably get better for that than for here. But racing, in the Sprint Cup level has gotten so intense that you can't, if you don't do it every weekend. And here's a little bit different place, as we all know. We talk about where, last weekend and next weekend's a little different than here. But still like the passion of the racing, the being competitive and helping Archie and his team out to get better for the if they can hang in there for the future through the charter deal. So it's like one of those things. I guess I kind of I want to race more in a way, but I don't want to race more in some ways, and I don't want to do it every weekend either. But I mean, I know you got to do. There's different series or different things you could do that's not quite as strenuous as this. My brother told me one time after about 2 years when he retired, he said, you'll have a lot more friends later that you didn't realize you had, and that's really coming true. So I'm enjoying that as well. But as far as racing goes, I love being a part of it. Just my opportunity is only allowed right now at 4 times, and through a little bit of what I want to do and a little bit of opportunity from other people.
Matt Weaver, Racer.com. I'm curious, a couple of years ago when your full-time Cup career was winding down, there was kind of stories thrown around or rumors or hearsay that maybe you would try to turn your attention to chasing that Truck Series championship because you had the Cup championship, the Xfinity championship. Was that something that was ever close to fruition, or is that something you would have wanted to or even still want to do?
Yeah, it's absolutely something that, talked about and met with some people about, and it was, things, again, everything's got to line up right, and I couldn't just make it happen by snapping my fingers, and other people couldn't either, and we couldn't quite get it all lined up, but definitely had it in my mind that would be something I really wanted to do, and I would still entertain that. I mean, obviously there's a but there's also a point where you're like, that, I mean, if you can chase the championship, that's one thing, and I mean, obviously you can do it in a lot of ways, but really want to be. When I do it, I mean, I feel like in the Sprint Cup Series, and when I started racing when I was little, I mean, it was the passion was to race and win, obviously, and so that's what you want to do, and you want to have that opportunity, chance to do that. But definitely did it back then, and I think that the Truck Series is very appealing to me. I love it. Loved it when I did a few of them for a couple guys and won a race and finished in top 5 quite a bit. It's definitely a different lift. The garage area is a lot calmer there than it is in the Sprint Cup Series, and I mean, it kind of has to me, it's probably at this point in time is a great feeling.
Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, thank you all very much. Later, sometime. If it's rain, I'll come back and entertain.